Welcome America Smiles members, America Smiles customers, and those of you who might be new to America Smiles. First and foremost, I want to thank the nearly 2,000 views we received on our last 3 videos. I hope that they were all beneficial to you, and I'm very confident you're going to find this one is going to be just as good and maybe even the best so far. As I said in the last video, this COVID-19 time, this shelter in place, really could be an amazing time for reflection, an amazing time for evaluation, and I'm going to suggest it's a time for change. The content of this video has actually been on my mind for many years, and for most of you, I've actually shared most of these thoughts, just parsing it out a little bit at a time. But for the first time, I'm going to collect all these thoughts in one video. So I've titled this video, 5 Things Every Lab Owner Must Do Differently After COVID-19. Normally I'd be displaying on the screen right now those 5 points, but before I make these 5 suggestions, I want to show you exactly not just what we need to change, but why we need to change. It's very important to understand our present condition, what's good about it and what's bad about it before I show you the list. Now, arguably, there's a lot that's very challenging in the lab industry. I've been in the lab industry since 1984, or really since 1981 when I went to school, but since 1984, and there's a lot of challenges in the industry. Most of the challenges are self-induced, but I really think that I understand why. A lot of these self-induced challenges are what's bad in the industry, and what we've done at our own cost is really because of the good. So about half of the reason or half the motivation for what's bad is because of what's good. And that might sound a little bit confusing, and I know I said it's about 50%. In the second video, I'm going to tell you the other half of the motivator on why we've allowed so many bad things in the lab industry. See, in every relationship, we're willing to tolerate a certain amount of bad because we enjoy the benefits of what's good about the relationship. So essentially what I'm saying is that the bad parts of our industry exist because we tolerate it or we allow it because we enjoy the good parts of the industry. This is no different than any other relationship. If you look at any relationship on the planet, they always have good and bad aspects to it. And at some point in time, we're willing to measure how much of the bad we're willing to tolerate because of the good that we're getting out of it. If there's very little good to be offered, you're going to tolerate very little bad. If there's a whole lot of good to be offered, you're going to tolerate a lot of bad. And that's why I suggest one of the motivating factors of why we tolerate so much bad in our industry or allow bad behaviors to take place in the industry is because we really enjoy the benefits. But it doesn't have to be that way. In my personal opinion, you can enjoy what's good, and there's a process for eliminating the bad. So let's discuss what's good in the industry first. Repeatable income. It's not very labor intensive. It's a fairly decent work environment, fairly decent money, and fairly decent work hours. And let me break these down individually. The repeatable income probably leads to the worst behavior that we have, and I'm going to explain that in the second video, so I'm going to leave that one hanging. But what I mean about repeatable income is once you get a new account, that dentist may be good for $3,000 a month, $36,000 a year, $360,000 over a 10-year period. Imagine this. You can be in a line at a grocery store, meet a dentist. The dentist says, yeah, I'll try your lab. And in a 10-year period of time, you've made over $250,000 off that doctor. That repeatable income has led to one of our worst behaviors, and that will be covered in the next video. And if we fix that, it can transform your business. The industry is not very labor intensive. What I mean by that is we're not digging ditches, we're not getting blisters on our hands, we're not up on a hot roof, putting up shingles on a hot roof. Fairly decent work environment. In the wintertime it's warm, in the summertime it's cool for the air conditioning. Fairly decent income. But I like to joke, owning a dental laboratory, you make minimum wage, but you get all the overtime you can ask for. So factually speaking, at the end of the day or at the end of the year, we make a pretty decent income. Few really get very rich, but on average, you can make a pretty decent income. And the other thing we like about it is the flexible hours. You know, if you want to go to son's little league baseball game or an event for your daughter, you can usually go to that event. You're going to work till 2 in the morning the previous day or 2 in the morning the day after, but at the very least, it's got flexible hours. So these positives that we enjoy in the business, I believe, in my own personal opinion, is one of the reasons why we tolerate the bad behaviors that we tolerate. But it does not have to be that way. So here we go, the list. 5 things every dental lab owner must change once we go back to work after the COVID-19. Stop tolerating bad impressions. Stop doing free remakes. Stop tolerating late payments. Know your business as well as you know your craft. And be a farmer and not a hunter. And yes, that is a tease. I will not be explaining that today. That will be in part 2 of this video. I know I've been saying second part. There's too much content here for a single video. So we're going to break it up into 2. And this notion of being a farmer and not a hunter will be explained in that next video. So for the remainder of today's video, we're going to look in depth at the first 3. To stop taking bad impressions, stop doing free remakes, and stop accepting late payments. Well, accept them, but just don't accept them late. Insist that they come on time. What you're going to find here is points 1 and 2 are actually tightly linked together. The concept of accepting good impressions or not accepting bad impressions and not doing free remakes, those two are really interlinked quite a bit together. I know all the excuses why we accept bad impressions. It's just another one. He or she always takes bad impressions. You're just used to it. You just get used to it. You don't want to waste your time calling. I get it. You already know what the doctor is going to say, and you don't want to waste your time calling. It's just another bad impression. Sometimes we see this situation. A 6-unit bridge comes in. There's only a few days to go in the month, or maybe you're halfway through the month, and you want to get that case billed out for the month. I get it. You need the cash flow. You need to invoice it this month. You'll look at this 6-unit bridge and say, well, I'm just going to do it. I want to get an invoice before the month's over, and you don't want to bother sending it back. Or you're afraid the doctor will just send it off to another laboratory, and you'll never get the case to begin with. And for some of us, we just don't want to call, and we don't want to offend the dentist. So these are some of the reasons why we accept the bad impressions. But how could we or how should we be handling these bad impressions when they come in? Let's say you get a case where you have a pull on the margin. You want to start off with a positive statement. You want to tell the doctor, Doctor, I'm confident I can give you a much better margin if you gave me a new impression. So you're always pitching the quality. I can do better. Always pitching your capability. I can give you a better product, a better margin if you give me a better impression. Now that's the positive statement. Then you want to mix a little bit of a negative statement in there, which says, I can't guarantee this will fit, or I can't guarantee this margin won't be open. I can't guarantee it won't be short. I can't guarantee it won't be long. You want to put that statement in there because that acts as the insurance policy for the possibility of an eventual remake, which of course in part 2 here is stop doing free remakes. So with that margin, you want to tell the doctor I can do a better job if, and you want to tell them I can't guarantee if. Say you get a 4-unit bridge with a triple tray. See it all the time. It's crazy to me that a doctor would request a 4-unit posterior bridge and give you a triple tray impression. And some of you out there thinking it's not that bad, it's okay, I'm going to disagree with you. 4-unit bridge, triple tray, you want to tell the doctor, I can give you a more accurate bite if you took 2 full arch impressions and gave me an accurate bite record. Start off again. Speaking of the positive, always ensuring the doctor, emphasizing, reminding the doctor that your quality of what you can do is dependent on what they can do. Give me a better impression, I'll give you a better product. Give me the 2 full arches, I'll give you an equilibrated bite, a bite that's going to fit good in centric, fit good in lateral excursions. The insurance policy portion, I can't guarantee you won't be grinding on this. I can't guarantee that the patient won't be in the chair for an hour equilibrating. I can't guarantee this isn't going to come back as a remake. And keep in mind, with these triple trays, it's natural for a patient to slide into a lateral excursion to bite these. So realistically, we're not even getting a centric bite, we're getting a lateral excursive bite. So again, spin it that I can give you better if and then the insurance policy statement, I can't guarantee X, Y, or Z. Now, I want to tell you this. I really believe that doctors are thirsty for good, confident leadership. If you have technical convictions, and you should, but if you have technical convictions, share them with your dentist. Present yourself in a humble way as an expert, as a trusted expert. Always framing the statement around, doctor, if you this, I can do this. Always be reminding the doctor it's their quality that they give you influences the quality you can give them back. Properly stating your technical concerns positions you far better for our next topic is how to stop doing the free remakes. When it comes to this, I don't know how we've fallen into this trap. No, actually, I do. I do know how we've fallen into it. And I'm going to cover that, probably some in this and a little bit in the second video. But the way our process works, the doctor gives you an impression, we make a model, and then we make a restoration that fits on that model. Now, when you're QCing the case, before the case is going to get packaged and shipped, when you QC the case, you're always QCing the case right on a model. The model is your verification. If the crown fits the model, there's a high expectation it's going to fit the mouth the same. And if it doesn't, you either made your model wrong, which shame on you, you need to have a good solid model process, or the weakest link we all know is the impression. The impression was bad. So the dentist, in my opinion, has the exact same responsibility. We need to stop delivering cases 10 minutes before the patient walks in the door. That's not on the list, but we got to provide a better service. But get that case delivered a day before the doctor. It's every dentist's responsibility, and few do it. Admittedly, few do it. They should be looking at that case on the model and making a decision right then and there. Do I believe this can go in the patient's mouth? If the doctor kicks it back to you for a remake, that remake should be free. If he says, I've looked at this case on the model, I'm not even going to bother bringing the patient in, you should remake that case the right way for free. But the notion of the doctor never checking it on the model, putting it in the patient's mouth, and then making a decision after the fact if he's going to pay for it or not is just absolute ludicrous. So, in my opinion, once that patient opens the mouth, the doctor owns that case. That doctor should evaluate it on the model and make a decision there if he wants to buy it. Your guarantee should begin and end with how that case fits on the model and whether or not you followed the lab prescription. You know, how on earth did we get sucked into this concept that we automatically own the responsibility of that case fitting in the mouth? Your policy should be new impression equals new invoice. If that doctor has to take a new impression, he's admitting that the impression was wrong. I would volunteer to remake a case on the same model or even the same impression. I'll pour that impression over again, doc, and I'll do that for free. But as soon as a new impression comes out, boom, there should be a new invoice. So do you see how the two are intertwined here? Insisting on a good quality impression, breaking that habit, break that old bad habit of just working on every case that comes in. If we insist on good impressions, we won't be doing free remakes because there won't hardly be any remakes. Everyone knows the weak link in our process is the impression. When we have no control over the impression, yet we take responsibility for it. Now here's the sensitive part, real touchy area. Back in the day when I started this industry, doctors charged 3 times the lab bill. I've got a whole article written on some of the history of dentistry and history of the lab-dentist relationship. I'll probably share with you one day soon. But dentists make 10 times the lab bill. So if you charge the doctor $100, he's charging the patient $1,000. Doctors charging 10 times the invoice on average. That means the doctor can remake this case 10 times and still be break even. Still be at break even. As soon as you remake it once, so you've made the case twice and been paid once. So as soon as you have one remake, you've made the case twice, been paid once, you're backwards. You'd have been better off if the case never came in to begin with. And This kind of ties into what I'm going to say in the next thing about knowing your business as well as you know your craft. So my final point today is that we need to stop being the bank. I used to tell my dentist back in the day, and I'll even tell labs that owe us money through the milling center, but I used to tell my dentist that I have a deal worked out with the local bank. They're not going to make any false teeth, and I'm not going to grant any loans. So let the bank stay in the banking business, and let us stay in the business of making teeth. You've got to make your point to the dentist that you have to buy the materials, pay the rent, pay the employees, pay a milling center. You have to pay all these things in advance just to be prepared to receive the case and fulfill the doctor's lab prescription. You can't do all that, make the restoration, and then still sit and wait to be paid. Late paying dentists bring a financial stress to your business, brings a financial stress to you that takes away from your main goal, which is supposed to be making high quality dental restorations. So make it clear to your doctors early and often that paying late is not an option. Most of you are going to send out invoices throughout 1 month, say the month of January. You'll generate a statement January 31st, and you'll generally give the doctor a grace till the end of February. That's how most labs are going to work. March 1st, put that guy on COD. Call him and tell him if he doesn't pay by May 1st, you're putting him on COD plus 500. The behavior exists because we've allowed it. Now, this is a very important part. I'm going to get to something that's going to be very psychological here. The dentist-lab relationship is, in fact, a relationship. And there is no better or faster way to ruin that relationship than to have the dentist owing you money. Because I can assure you, they're aware they owe you a lot of money. They've become resentful. They don't like that they owe you 10 grand, 5 grand, or 10 or 15, however bad you've allowed it to get. And they become resentful. And they become resentful that you're calling and reminding them of this. Suddenly, nothing fits right. Suddenly, the shades aren't good. What's happening at a psychological level, that doctor is justifying not paying the lab bill. They're going to find anything and everything, or even invent things, invent reasons to not like the relationship with you, not like how you run your business, not like the quality of your product. All because you have allowed them to get late. You've ruined a potentially good relationship by letting them be late. Get that doctor to pay the bill, and all of a sudden you're the best lab tech on the planet. I've seen it 1,000 times. I can assure you, for the sake and the health of the relationship, do your part to keep the doctor current. When you don't, you ruin the relationship. So, today I've discussed 3 of the 5 things that I think all dental lab owners need to change post-COVID-19. We've talked about stop taking bad impressions, stop doing free remakes, stop tolerating late payments. And I already know what you're thinking. I already know it. If I do that, I'll lose all my clients. You see, that just proves what I said earlier, that you're willing to accept a certain amount of bad behavior because of the benefits of being a dental lab owner. But have no fear. In part 2, we're going to address this situation. When I discuss knowing your business as well as knowing your craft, when I teach you how to be a farmer instead of a hunter, and yes, that's again a little bit of a teaser, you will have the courage to take these 3 bad behaviors that I talked about, the bad impressions, the remakes, the late payments. Once you watch video 2 and we make our 4th and 5th point, you're going to have the courage to transform your business. For now, I want to thank you for watching this video. I want to thank you for your trust and confidence. And until next time, God bless.